2022 has come to an end, and that means it's time to do a yearly ranking of LEGO Star Wars, a sort of retrospective. What have we received? Is it worth it? Is it a good year? Is it a bad year? We're going to find all that out in this video. Now, this is going to be quite fast-paced. I am going to speed through these sets, particularly the ones lower down on the list, and also the ones I've touched upon in my Christmas guide. This is not really a guide, speaking about that video, but this is just sort of a, again, as I've said, a retrospective, so it's nice to be able to get into these. Very quickly, this list is not going to be including polybags or key rings or books, anything that isn't really a LEGO Star Wars set, because obviously that just wouldn't be fair. They'd all end up at the bottom of the list. Also, we're not including UCS sets within this list. It's just not fair. You know, the Razor Crest, the set we had for the UCS this year, it's gonna be number one. LEGO spends way more money, way more time and effort developing those sets. Okay. Starting off as the worst set of 2022, we have the 75332 Juniors ATSD. Just look at it. I'm going to give you just a brief moment just to take in what's on the screen right now. Just have a look, right? Are you done? Are you done? Yeah, have you finished looking at this absolute abomination? Oh my god. Okay, this thing has 87 pieces and retails for £30. This is £30, and I sort of have a bit of a bias towards hating junior sets, but there's a very good reason for that. Junior sets they shouldn't really exist within LEGO Star Wars, because we already have a perfectly fine Juniors sort of theme. It's the Microfighters, the sub-theme of LEGO Star Wars, one of many. And the whole, again, I've explained Microfighters before, the point of a Microfighter is it's a small chibi build for a tenner that you get with a figure, and it's very nice, and LEGO tries to sometimes make the figure exclusive. Microfighters are fine, they're a tenner. This thing's 30 quid. Just look at it. Does it look like it's worth 30 quid? No, it doesn't. It's absolutely terrible. The ATST is one of the most ugliest things I've ever seen in my life. The speeder bike is incredibly basic. The tree, which, if you can call it a tree, again looks basic. The figures, none of them are exclusive, by the way. All of these figures we've seen before, none of them are exclusive. And this is just an absolutely terrible set. Coupled with the fact that, considering that the Microfighter builds we get are better than this, yeah, there's no need to buy this set. This set is absolutely terrible in every single way. Take it away, I never want to see it again in my life. Okay, next up, just shy from the absolute worst position. I mean, it's hard to get worse than the ATSG, right? But we have the 40558 Clone Figure Pack. Okay, this has 66 pieces, and it's tragic. The reason why this thing is tragic, there's many reasons. First of all, this thing costs £3.50 currently on lego.com. That is as much as the original LEGO battle packs back in the day, back in like 2015 era. And you only get 3 minifigs. There are 3 minifigs, and none of them are exclusive. None of these minifigs are exclusive. Also, they're incredibly undesirable figures. LEGO is, again, cheapened down. They've given us 2 generic Phase 1 clones that no one cares about. They're not an interesting battalion. Also, we have the Clone Commander. Now, the Clone Commander made his debut into LEGO Star Wars with the 2013 ATTE. Really awesome figure. He was then re-released in the UCS LAAT gunship. We're not going to really talk about that set. And then he was re-released again in this year's advent calendar. So there's no desirable figures for this set. There's no exclusive figures, and the builds are really poor. It's a little small command center that you get, which is nowhere near as good as the 2013 build. And you also have a very small little weapons rack. Yeah, I think LEGO just has an excuse to, oh, this isn't a system set because it's not in a box and it doesn't have 7.5 as part of the code. It is still classed as a system set, and it's absolutely terrible. Slightly better, but not by much, we have the 40557 Hoth figure pack, dubbed the Defense of Hoth. It has 64 pieces, and again, it costs £13.50. And the only reason I put this one higher is because I think it's very slightly better value. I mean, it's not by much. This thing is still tragic. The E-Web blasters feel cheap. They feel nowhere near as good as the one that was in the 2020 AT-AT. They use blasters as their legs, which is just so weird. The packs aren't connected. They have a very small dish turret. I don't know why LEGO keeps making these dish turrets. No one wants them. Yeah, I mean, they could have had a really interesting, like a snow vehicle, like the one that was in the original Kenner toys. They could have had that in here instead, or just something more interesting. I don't know why LEGO keeps giving us Hoth things as well. In terms of the figures, again, we get 3 figures. They are all different flesh tones, which is quite nice. LEGO's, again, trying to be inclusive there. That's quite nice. But no one really wants generic Rebel Troopers. I mean, I guess it's good for army building, but I'd rather get, you know, Imperial Snow Troopers. I'd rather get Death Troopers or a clone battalion. I mean, like, you know, with armor and like the whole suited up dudes are so much cooler than Rebel Troopers, right? But yeah, this thing's not very good. The Rebel Troopers are decent. The 2 of them, I believe 2 of them are exclusive. They might all be exclusive, but they're not very valuable. And yeah, this thing is not very good at all. Yes, I'm putting this set this low. I don't care, this is my list, this is my opinions. This is one of the most disappointing LEGO Star Wars sets in the past 5 years of LEGO in general. This set is absolutely astoundingly terrible. It's set 75334, Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader. Just look at this. Just feast your eyes of what you've just been robbed 45 quid for. This is £45 for this. Just look at this. I want you just to look. Let your eyes sink in about what you're paying just shy of 50 quid for. It's a grey base plate. You are paying for a grey base plate. Now, the minifigs are really good in this set. They're a really strong minifig selection, and it attempts to save the set, but it just can't save the set. I mean, the build, I mean, it's not even like it's a £25 little scenery set that I talk about. Those are so cool. LEGO used to knock out those £25 scenery sets, and they were great. This is 50 quid, right? 45 quid for this big, ugly, grey base plate, and it's not worth the money. Yeah, in terms of the figures, they are all nearly exclusive, barring Vader. Vader is the one that isn't exclusive. He's still a great figure. You get Ned B, you get Tala, and you get Kenobi. They're also great. I mean, they're great figures, but the set just isn't very good. There's nothing to do. There's a little line of fire that can appear through the ground there with just a plate that moves. There's also fire that can come out of the sort of wheel structure at the back. Yeah, that's about it. There's not a lot to do with this set. It's not a good display piece, right? Scenery sets are supposed to be display pieces, and this one fails, and that is why it's just so low. Coming in next is a really successful LEGO Star Wars set. This is not a bad LEGO Star Wars set by any means. It's just what it is that puts it so low. It's the Razor Crest Microfighter. This is what I talk about Microfighter. Set 75321 with 98 pieces. This thing's £9 on Lego.com. £9. You get a small, chibi Razor Crest. You have those new modern stud shooter pieces there. They look fine. And the build, of course, looks a bit funny. It looks a bit, a bit goofy, really. But it works. It's a microfighter. This is what it's designed to be. Open top, classic microfighter, great build. Very cheap price. Mando isn't exclusive, but again, he doesn't need to be. It's Mando. What can you really do to make him exclusive? Comes with his blaster pistol there. He's the newer Mando for 2022. He looks great. He looks absolutely great, and the set is great. It's just a microfighter isn't going to succeed in a toe-to-toe battle against a larger set. That's the only reason why this thing is so low. It's just purely because of what it is. But it's really good. Next up is one of LEGO's sublines. Just like the microfighters, just like the buildable figures, we have LEGO's helmet series that they started, I believe in 2020, they started the helmet series. And here we have the Dark Trooper helmet, set 75343 with 693 pieces. Why is this set so low on the list? Well, out of the 3 helmet sets we got this year, I do believe this is the worst. I just feel, I mean, helmets are very expensive. I don't know why LEGO charges so much for the helmets. This thing's 60 quid. 60, are you prepared to pay £60 for this? Yeah, the other helmets are a far better investment, and also it just feels a bit cheap. They use stickers on this, and I don't like how they use stickers. it really, I mean, this is 60 quid we're paying for a very nice collector's. This is purely for collectors. This is not for kids. A kid's not going to be playing with this, right? A pure collector's piece for 60 quid. And they put stickers on it. I just don't like that. Coupled with the fact that, well, I don't really care for the Dark Troopers. Obviously, Mandalorian's new. They're going to throw out Mandalorian products. There's probably more that's going to come out. But I just don't think this thing is very successful. It's a bit clunky. It's not very memorable, not very iconic, and yeah, it's slightly overpriced. Next up, we have another one of LEGO's sub-themes. This is the Ahsoka Brickhead set 40539 with 164 pieces. This is a really, really, really good brickhead. This is one of my favourite brickheads LEGO's ever made. I just don't care for it. That's the only reason why it's so low. Again, this thing, just like the Mando's Microfighter, it's really, really good for what it is, but it cannot go toe-to-toe against an actual proper good system set. It just can't. Essentially, I've explained this in my Christmas guide. Brickheads are essentially LEGO's Funko Pops. That's LEGO's equivalent. They're really cool, buildable characters. This is £10. It's a tenner. It's good value for money. It's not overpriced. It's a fair price for £10 for this Ahsoka. And yeah, it's one of the most iconic Star Wars characters of all time, made in brickhead form. I know that the brickhead fans really appreciate this, and it's a great model. Nothing bad to say about this. It's a really good brickhead. Here we have a familiar friend. The TX-130, also known as LEGO's terms, the Republic Fighter Tank, set 75342 with 262 pieces. I'm going to breeze past this one. I touched upon it in my Christmas guide. Please don't buy this set. The figures are really good. The figures are really, really, really good. But if you really care for it that much, I mean, I guess you're gonna have to get this set, but I mean, it's really shoddy. Have you seen the tank? Just look at the tank. Do you really want to put that on your shelf and be proud of that? I mean, it just looks so poor. It looks like it's a junior set. It really does. It's lumpy, it's bumpy, it's way too geometric, it's got really big basic pieces. Also, it's covered in stickers. Yeah, the 2008 version's better. The 2017 version is better. If you want the TX-130, get either of the two previous renditions. But in terms of a LEGO Star Wars set, I mean, the main thing you're paying £40 for. I don't know why LEGO is so expensive these days. 40 quid is outrageous, considering in 2017 they released one for 25 quid. Yeah, 40. I mean, the main thing you're paying for is the tank, and the tank is terrible. So, ergo, it's low on the list. Next one is a bit of an odd one out, but I am going to include it. It is the Lars Family Homestead Kitchen, which is the May the 4th promo for 2022. Now, LEGO May the 4th promos have been shocking for the past like 5 years, but this is the first one where I can confidently say it's really, really good. If you don't know how a deal works, it's essentially exclusive from the LEGO store or lego.com, and it's when you spend a purchase over £160, you get this for free bundled in within a set time period around May the 4th, obviously. And it's really good. It's set 40531. And it's a really nice kitchen build. There's lots of detail. There's a little micro Luke's Land Speeder, classic Star Wars set there. You get some blue milk, very nice cabinets, and of course, the minifigure. LEGO, this is what we've been asking for, the exclusive May the 4th minifigs. It's Aunt Beru, and Aunt Beru is a minifig that's never been made in LEGO Star Wars, so this is a really cool minifig to get. She's quite rare, she's of course very exclusive, first time ever been seen, and yeah, it's a great May the 4th deal. 160 might be a bit much, but hey ho, it's great, and now it's gone, and I'm sure it's a lot of money on the aftermarket. This is a far more successful helmet set. It's set 75327 with 675 pieces, Luke Skywalker's Red 5 helmet. It's really unique, really unique. Again, it's made just for this sort of like adult collector's line. I personally, again, do not care for helmets. I just really don't see myself spending 60 quid on this, but it is worth more than the Dark Trooper helmet significantly. I mean, A lot of the elements here are printed. A lot of these sort of dish pieces are printed elements. There are still a few stickers, but it feels a lot more deluxe and it feels a lot more worth your money than the Darktrim helmet, purely because of the look. I love the trans orange making up the visor, and it just, because obviously it's not a full helmet like a Stormtrooper helmet, it does feel really like unique and cool in that way. It is decently sized. I mean, I think it does appear a little bit smaller than the rest of the helmets, but it should be okay there. I just think that 60 is too much. 60 is way too much for this. Again, same with all the helmet sets. I think they're massively overpriced. I would avoid, I mean, we are getting into the better sets of the year now, but this is still a bit of a stinker. Next up, we have this year's Advent Calendar. This is set 75340 with 329 pieces. In true Advent Calendar fashion, we have some Christmassy-fied LEGO minifigs here, and also some other figures with, of course, those small micro builds. Now, the micro builds is not what you're paying £30 for, which is a little bit of a big ask, but it is still decent. I mean, I've owned a couple of the Advent calendars, and all of the micro builds get disassembled and used for spare parts. I only keep the minifigs together, and I think that's most people. Let's get into these figures. First figure up, we have the Christmas R2-D2. The only exclusive part about this guy is that I guess torso piece for R2 with a sort of a 3PO Christmas jumper there. Very, very nice. Vice versa for 3PO who's in the set, he gets a blue R2 jumper. Those two figures are exclusive for their torso pieces only. Next, we have a very ironic Darth Vader. Of course, he's like in a summer t-shirt and it's winter, so why is that? Well, he hates sand, I guess, is why LEGO's done that. But it is a pretty cool torso piece. Again, it's the only part of Darth Vader that is exclusive. You have those three minifigs there that all look pretty cool, to be honest. Not the best Advent Calendar figures we've ever got in terms of the exclusivity, but it's nice. In terms of the figures that are not exclusive, we have a very disappointing B1 battle droid. LEGO, whenever they have space, whenever they just can't think of anything else, they just shove in a B1 battle droid. So annoying, so unoriginal. I have about 1 million B1 battle droids. They're not the best. We have an Imperial Snowtrooper who we've been seeing a lot with the increase in Hoth sets. The Imperial Snowtrooper is that 2020 Snowtrooper that we've been seeing for a while now. He's not exclusive, not very special. We have Hoth Luke, again, Hoth figure seen before. Nothing exclusive there. And the final figure is that wonderful Clone Commander that we touched on earlier. But yeah, the Advent Calendar's decent, £30, bit too much money, but it is better than some other years. Next up, easily the best helmet set of the year, we have set 75328, Mando's helmet with 584 pieces. This is easily the best helmet, it's the most valuable, it's the most sought after. I mean, it's literally the Mandalorian, right? Who wouldn't want this? Again, it's 18 plus, it's £60, just like the rest of the helmets. Way too overpriced, but this is a lot better. Now, LEGO does use drum lacquered silver for a lot of the elements here. Of course, not the entire helmet is made in drum lacquered silver, as it would cost like £1 million. But it is pretty good, and there is some very nice sort of silver highlights. Also, this helmet doesn't have any stickers, which is very, very nice. And it is a pretty accurate design to what we see in Mandalorian. The most inaccurate part, however, is that massive gap at the front of Mando's helmet. The visor going down should not be that wide, and it does look a little bit jarring. Nowhere near as good as Boba Fett's helmet from, I believe, 2020 that set came out in. But it is still pretty decent. It's the best helmet set of the year, and yeah, it is still this low because I just don't care about the helmets. Moving swiftly up the list now, we have the first of the 18 plus diorama sets. There have been 3 in this new sub-theme this year, and I think this is easily the worst. It's the 75329 Death Star Trench Run. It has 665 pieces, and again, it's the price. This retails for 60 quid, £60, which is absolutely absurd for what we get here. It's essentially a small micro build. We've seen things like this before. In terms of the actual builds for the X-Wing and the TIE Fighters, they are by far some of the best micro-scale ships we've seen in LEGO Star Wars. I remember a few years back there was a May the 4th Death Star 2 sort of a trench run battle. It was absolutely appalling. The TIE Interceptor was not very good. It was awful in that diorama, and this is a lot better. The detail is very, very, very nice. It's wonderful greebles that have been used to create the texture of the Death Star's surface. I just think this is too much money. Way, way, way too much money. And it's undesirable. I just think it's undesirable. I would rather spend £60 on a full system set, a full proper vehicle to have on display, a full-size vehicle. Yeah, this micro stuff just doesn't really appeal to me. Coming in with a Brickhead Duo, this is a really, really strong set 40547, 260 pieces, £18. Very, very fair. You know, I would even push this to be 20. I think LEGO could get away with selling £20 for this. Really, really good from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. They're currently out of stock on lego.com. That just shows how popular it is. My dad has ordered one for Christmas. This is one of his Christmas presents, and they're really, really strong. No stickers ever in Brickheads. There are never any stickers. All of these wonderful printed elements on Vader are all, yeah, they're all prints, which is just so nice. He's got the red lenses. Of course, they do that on the Brickhead version and not the minifigure. But yeah, they're really, really strong builds. They're quite accurate as well. Vader is slightly taller, very nice to see. They've done Darth Vader Brickheads before, but I don't really think that matters because this one I think is better than the last. I think my little brother owns one of the older versions of the Brickhead Vader. I think this one's so much better, and coupled with Obi-Wan, and considering it's a brand new TV series, this really sold like hotcakes. Coming in next is a set that I was really excited for, but then was sorely disappointed. It's an earlier set from 2022, set 75324, 166 pieces, the Dark Trooper Attack. And this was supposed to be one of those £25 little scenery sets, nice cluster of scenery, great little display piece that you can have on a shelf, and it doesn't really excel at that. The build is incredibly ugly. The build is incredibly it's a big grey slab is what this thing is, with a few walls. This isn't something I'd be proud to put on a shelf like Yoda's hut or the Duel on Mustafar or Vader's transformation. It's not one of those really cool little scenery sets. It's big, it's ugly, and it's £30. This thing is £5 more. Now that is probably because of inflation, but it still bugs me. I don't think this is worth 30 quid. I really don't. The figures though are fantastic. I love the figures. Finally, we do have more Dark Troopers. It was terrible in the Moff Gideon's Cruiser, where they only gave us one. We have 3 Dark Troopers. They are just re-releases, but that's absolutely fine. And then we get an exclusive Luke Skywalker in his wonderful Mandalorian robes, which is really, really cool to see. Sort of like a Return of the Jedi Luke again, you know. Also, there is quite a few stickers on this set. I don't like the stickers, and I do think the action features are a bit cheesy. LEGO will like try to be creative with some of the action features. They'll try to like with a lot of their little £25 scenery sets, they're like, you can change how it looks. So sort of on like Obi-Wan's hut, Yoda's hut, the Duel on Mustafar, you can sort of like pick it apart and like move it in different ways. Nope, here it's just a square slab. In terms of the action features, you can slide a Dark Trooper back, sort of as a force push. There's the elevator that can turn for Luke, but yeah, there's not a lot else. And yeah, this thing, great figures, slightly overpriced, but just a terrible build. Next is such a disappointing set, a really, really disappointing set. The only reason it's this high is purely because of what it is. It's Mando's N1 Starfighter set 75325, 412 pieces for £60. Again, £60. First and foremost, this set is massively oversized. Now, LEGO has some styling. For instance, the AT-ATs that LEGO make are massively oversized, but that's more of a styling thing. They've sort of got the trend in now, and I quite like them, the AT-ATs now. But this thing does not need to be this big. An N1 Starfighter in the Star Wars universe is only a little bit bigger than an ETA 2. Like, they're not very big. And this is massive, and you might think, oh, it's 60 quid, it has loads of pieces. 412 is not that many pieces. This thing is very, very thin on the wings. Don't be fooled by its size. Very large wingspan, but not a lot of pieces make it up. Coupled with the fact that this is chrome in the Book of Boba Fett, and this set is just light and dark bluish grey, is such a disappointment. I mean, the last N1 from 2015 was just such a beautiful set. It's one of my favourite LEGO Star Wars sets of all time. I love the old N1. I've got that one. I'm never going to buy this because, you know, why would you? It's not even more accurate. The back end is very blocky. The front, they use like a Speed Champions cockpit, just in light bluish grey. It looks like really thick at the front. It should look a lot more streamlined. They have integrated the spring-loaded missiles really well on the sort of hot rod top. You push it down. I like that feature. But another thing about this set is I watched Jang Brix's review on it, and it's incredibly flimsy. The build is really weak, particularly around the third engine at the back and sort of the wings sometimes. It's a very flimsy build, which, you know, even highlights even more why you shouldn't buy this set. If you do want an N1 Starfighter, this is probably the one to buy, because the 2015 one will run you about 120 and upwards in terms of pricing, even more, whereas this set is 60. So if you do really want an N1, I guess buy this set. But yeah, it's not very good at all. Also, the Mando figure is incredibly disappointing. Now, most of the figures, I mean, the figures generally are really good in this set. You get BD, well, a BD unit, not BD1 specifically. Pele Motto, who's the mechanic lady, and you also, of course, get Grogu again. But the big problem is Mando. They really cheapened down with the Darksaber. Look at the Darksaber. It's just a 1x4 black bar and a drum lacquered silver, just a standard lightsaber hilt. It looks dreadful. It looks nothing like the Darksaber. And after the whole Moff Gideon thing, that, you know, it's the same thing that Moff Gideon has, it's incredibly disappointing. And that's one of the big selling points. You know, this set would have been so much better, so much higher up if it had an exclusive Darksaber mold, but it doesn't. I don't know about this set. It's the 75326 Boba Fett's Throne Room from Book of Boba Fett, 732 pieces for £90. Man, £90 for this is just, it's insane. I really don't know how we've got to this level. This set is pretty decent. It's an insult to the 2012 Jabba's Palace. The 2012 Jabba's Palace is better in pretty much every single way. I'm considering buying that set. Quite expensive, but it's so much better than this. Yeah, there's not a lot to see or do. It is quite displayable. It does look quite nice on a shelf. Also, you can sort of fold things up, do some things with it, which is quite nice. You have the whole movable chair. You have someone that you can like throw off the stairs. Basic action features. It's not that you know, advanced at all. You have like a door that works. But the big thing here is the figures. I guess the figures are the saving grace to the set. We have the very first Quarren ever in LEGO Star Wars. The very first Quarren ever. And of course Fennec is nice. You have a few random unknown sort of like gangsters. Bib Fortuna is quite nice. The head piece though for his tentacle is really just weird looking. It looks really like lumpy and bumpy. It really shouldn't. I know he's fat, but it shouldn't be quite like that. But yeah, the worst thing is just the price. This thing is not worth 90 quid, man. It's not worth 90. And coupled with the awful Boba Fett figure. Yeah, the Boba Fett figure is, again, completely inaccurate. I know I've spoken about that before. Coming up next, we have the second 18+ diorama. And the first set on the top 10. This is the top 10 now. These, we're going to draw a little line. These are all pretty good sets now. Here we have the 75330 Dagobah Jedi Training. 1,000 pieces for 80 quid. £80 for this set. Now, this set is a lot more displayable than a lot of other LEGO Star Wars sets that are out right now. It's quite displayable. I still would advise buying £25 scenery sets. Go get some old ones. They're really good, and I just prefer it. And I think there's a lot more to do, because there's not really a lot to see or do here. It's just what you see here. That's pretty much it. You know, there's like nothing you can like move or change or fiddle with. It's just the hut. In terms of the hut, it is a much more accurate build than the previous version. I still do prefer the 2018 Yoda's hut. I have it. I'm looking at it now. It's very, very nice. It's very, you know, it's a very good display piece. But it's got so many functions. I'll get to it when I review it, but it's like a 2-in-1 almost. It's a complete and utter playset, but a complete and utter display piece. And this thing is just a display piece, which kind of takes away. There is no interior to Yoda's hut. It's incredibly basic on the backside. And of course you have the black plaque that surrounds it. Getting into the figures, I do really like them. Now, they did re-release my exclusive Empire Strikes Back Yoda and Dagobah Luke. They are both not exclusive to this set, they were exclusive to the 2018 version, but they have remade R2 finally with back printing. R2-D2 now has back printing, which he's never had in the history of LEGO Star Wars, and I think it's one of those things that's just a little step up, you know, just a little tiny evolution, which is just so cool to finally see. That really completes the look. But besides that, yeah, there's nothing else to talk about. The X-Wing wing is a little basic. I would have liked to have seen more of the X-Wing, but it's okay, and it looks quite funny. Following very closely on in 9th place, we have the final the 18th dioramas. This is the 75339 Death Star Trash Compactor. 802 pieces, however it's still 80. This thing is still 80 quid, and it's got 200 less pieces. I don't understand that. I think that we are getting overall less here than the Dagobah, but I guess it's okay. I don't know, LEGO's trying to push like a whole deluxe thing on here. Trust me, these sets are not deluxe in any way. Just look across some old system sets. These sets are not deluxe. You know, there's no like special display value other than the little quote they slap on the front. So yeah, if you're new to LEGO Star Wars, just don't fall into that trap. But there's a great function. There's something to see and do here. You can move the walls in. There's loads of little like junk and rubbish on the inside, which is very, very nice. In terms of the figures, hardly any of these figures are exclusive, which is, it's okay, I guess, but they definitely does have the best figure selection out of any of the 18 plus sets. Han, Luke, Leia, and Chewie are all basic. We've seen them all before, but it's 3PO and R2 who are the exclusive ones, and they are so cool in this set. R2 has back printing, which looks even better without the mud on. I really hope this goes to system sets. It's so unfair if it doesn't, because he just looks so clean. And 3PO has wonderful arm printing and toe printing that just looks fantastic on him. I would like to see C-3PO with a dual molded leg in this set, but it's okay. I mean, yeah, the figures are great. The set overall is really, really good. I just think it's a bit overpriced for what we get, and I think that this would just serve so much better as a £20, £25 scenery set, 100%. This is a really, really, really strong set now. 75320, 105 pieces. It's the Snow Trooper Battle Pack. It's supposed to go alongside the 2020 AT-AT. It's 2 years late. I don't know why LEGO has spread out all of these Hoth sets. We had the 2019 T47, then we had the 2020 AT-AT, then we had the Hoth AT-ST, and the Snow Trooper Battle Pack this year. Just completely spread out. I don't know. I don't think LEGO knows what they're doing, but that doesn't matter. This set is one of the best battle packs LEGO has ever made. They're fantastic minifigs. They are the new Snowtroopers. They're not exclusive to the set. I think they made their debut in the 2020 AT-AT. We do have a wonderful Scout Trooper in snow armor. He is an exclusive figure. The Scout Trooper looks great. There are decent builds. I do wish it was more of like a Kenner vehicle, like an original small little Kenner vehicle that we've seen sometimes. I think that's just fantastic, but yeah, we get an E-Web turret, which is decent. We have the stud shooter on that instead, which is ingenious. We have a little bit of small snow terrain, which is really boring, and we have a pretty decent speeder bike. I think it's the same build as the one that's included in the AT-AT, but I might be mistaken. The massive plus about this set is that, of course, the minifigs do not use the stud shooters. This year, LEGO got rid of those. We now know it's continuing in with the new 501st Battle Pack. They're not going to use these stud shooters either, which is just great. We get the proper accurate LEGO blasters. No angry clone faces on these guys. They look awesome. The only bad thing I have to say about this set is just the price. Battle Packs have gone from £13 now to £17, £18. On Lego.com, this retails for £17.99. That is just too much money. It's really unfortunate. It's just, you're purely inflation. Coming in next, we kind of have a mixed bag. It's set 75322. Following on from the Hoth Battle Pack, we have the Hoth AT-ST, 586 pieces for £45. Let's get the pricing out of the way. I think it's fairly priced. This is, you know, AT-STs are worth 40, 45, 50 quid pushing it. You know, they are sort of that £50 small vehicle set. It looks really good. It looks really, really good. It's by far the most accurate AT-ST we've ever seen. Finally, LEGO have had the actual slanted front face. They've been doing them flat for so long. The AT-ST's front is not flat, it is slanted, and I'm happy they've included that. The shaping around the back is a lot more accurate, and we finally have brick built feet, which is quite nice. LEGO have been doing stickers for a long time. The legs are still very basic. You cannot pose this walker in any way, which is just really unfortunate, but it is really, really good. The integration of the spring missiles are decent, they're not really the best, but I do like the general structure and design. Some people say this AT-ST is really inaccurate. It's from Empire Strikes Back, not Return of the Jedi. This is not the classic Return of the Jedi AT-ST or Rogue One AT-ST. This is Empire Strikes Back only. We see it for a very brief second, and it does look different to the Return of the Jedi version, so it is accurate. We just don't need this set now. I haven't bought this set. I love the AT-ST, but I own the 2016 Rogue One version. I have the Rogue One AT-ST and I've modded it to be very accurate. So why would I spend $45 to buy this set so soon after 2017? We just didn't need another AT-ST. There's a million other things that LEGO could have made, and I was left scratching my head when I knew that this was going to be released. The figures, however, are pretty good. We have an exclusive Hoth AT-ST pilot. He looks pretty good there. We have just a standard nameless, faceless Rebel Trooper, who is okay. I don't think he's exclusive. And then we have an exclusive Chewbacca who has snow on him, which is quite cool, quite unique, but not really very special. Also, we have a brick-built probe droid, which just looks awesome. This is by far the best probe droid we've ever received in LEGO Star Wars, and it just, yeah, the building techniques here. I mean, this probe droid just looks spectacular. All in all, decent set, unnecessary remake, but by far the best AT-ST we've ever received. Next up, just missing out from the top 5, we have a very familiar set. Set 75323 with 1022 pieces. The Justifier, which was originally the unjustifiable Justifier. Now I'm not so sure, because again, this is going for 150 on Lego.com. And I kind of think it's okay for 150. This used to be 180 if you looked on most places. Not really anymore. It's changed. I don't know what's happened. Maybe it was 150 all along and I was just tripping, but I don't think so, because it was 180. People were saying 180 overpriced. Now, I'm going to whiz through this. It's quite boring. It's a very dull colour palette, which is not LEGO's fault. It's just the classic grey Star Wars vehicle, dark bluish grey, not really any highlights. Now that this set has horrible usage of space, there is nothing to see and do in this set, like hardly any interior. The only interior you have is your cockpit, which is quite bare bones. But yeah, there's absolutely no uses of good uses of space, sorry. It's all just used with a terribly unnecessary landing gear feature, which I spoke about before. Massive selling point for this set, however, is the figures. I think the figures are awesome. We get Cad Bane for the first time since 2013. Cad Bane is the best. He looks awesome. Omega, who is exclusive. Todo, who is exclusive. And then we get Hunter and Fennec, which, I mean, incredibly strong figure selection. No one here is an unnecessary minifigure. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's great. Coming in at number 5, we have a really, really good set. It's BD1 from Jedi Fallen Order, set 75335 with 1062 pieces. This is an awesome set. It's another sub-theme of LEGO Star Wars. It's the buildable characters. I think this is by far the best buildable character we have ever received. It's just so accurate. If you look at BD1, it's pretty much like this. Also, it's incredibly posable. You can get a lot of posability out of this little guy. I say little, he's actually not that little, it's pretty decently big. It's £90, I think that's definitely fair. 90 is the price to pay for this character. He looks fantastic on a shelf, especially with like a gaming setup, considering this is from a video game. There's not that much to really do in terms of functions besides the legs. There is a little opening pouch for the stim pouches. You do know what that is if you play the game, obviously, the sort of health regen you can get. But that's a really, really nice detail. I was very, very pleasantly surprised to see that. And I'm considering buying this. I do kind of want it, but I do want to get some things first. Number 4 spot goes to the Ambush on Ferrix, set 75338 with 679 pieces. Now this is a mixed bag. The main ship itself is really, really awesome. This is just such, it is one of the best £50, well, I say £50, we'll get onto the price in a minute, but the £50 sort of medium-sized, small-sized vehicle that you can buy. It's a really, really, I mean, if you see the build, the way this thing goes together, how the plates slot in, there's like no gaps, it's not gappy. There's a wonderful interior to the craft, you have a good cockpit section, a fair amount of stickers in there, but it's okay. You can sit 4 figures down in the main interior, and there is weapon storage at the back. It's really, really good. The turret on top is very nicely built, the stud shooters are very nicely integrated, they just flow into the build, and the engines are nicely built as well. That's not the problem. The problem is this is £70, which is just such a disappointment. It's very, very overpriced. This is a £50 set. Right there, 50 quid, but it's not, it's 70. And that's one of the reasons I haven't bought this. In terms of the figures, you get Cassian, who is very nicely detailed. You also get Luthen, and you get Cyril, I think his name is. Again, I haven't seen it. They're great figures, no unnecessary figures as far as I can tell. They all look fantastic. One problem is, though, speeder bike. Why is this speeder bike here? Again, I'm sure it's maybe important to the scene, but it is an unnecessary side build, and it does jack up the price. If we get rid of the speeder bike and just leave the set as it is, maybe we can get it down to 60? I don't know. I think that would help reduce the price, but yeah, the build is fantastic. It's a wonderful set. It takes the 4th spot. It's just not as good as the rest. Number 3 goes to a set that I am going to buy now. I did say it was on its way. I was lying. I've bought something else instead that's really, really cool. I know you guys are going to appreciate what I've bought instead. You'll see with the Christmas live stream that I'm planning to do. I will build it there. But I will get this set at some point. It's the 75333, 282 pieces. It's Obi-Wan's Delta 7, a much needed remake. I think it is easily the best Delta 7 starfighter we've ever received, and it is one of the best £25 vehicle sets. Now, this comes in at 30 quid. We knew this set was going to be affected by inflation. It was. It comes in at 30. Again, I think this is not really LEGO's fault, it's just sort of the inflation thing. I'm gonna let it slide because this set is really, really cool. Now, they do use those awful new stud shooters on the front. The sort of cylinder ones are a lot more accurate for the Delta 7. It would have been so much better to have the old stud shooters. Now, there is gappy wings to this thing. That's another thing that was pointed out. There are gappy wings. It's such a shame. I don't know why. I do own Anakin's 2018 Delta 7. And that hasn't got gappy wings, so I think the actual structure's different. I don't know what LEGO's done differently. There is the compartment in the middle to put your R4 body, which of course does sacrifice sort of the sleekness of the craft, which it should have. It has a really boxy front that it just should not have if you watch Attack of the Clones. That is unfortunate, but I do understand why LEGO's done it. And if you look at the back end, this fighter's back end is just so accurate. The placement of the engines being on the side, not the bottom of the wing, really helps with the accuracy and proportions from the backside. It looks wonderful. I think that the stickers are included, are all necessary. I don't think that any of these stickers could, be taken away and the set still be as good as it is. And the figures. This is probably my favourite Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure we've ever received. It is such a wonderful figure. It's a really, really good Obi-Wan figure. You also get an included hood with him, and yet the fine printing on the robes is just spectacular. Also, this is the very first Ton Wee minifigure we've ever received. The very first Kaminoan ever. I think they've done done a very, very good job with the Kaminoans. They used that 2018 dress piece. And yeah, Ton Wee looks spectacular. R4 is not exclusive. I was expecting him to be. Very disappointed that R4 does not have back printing, unlike the diorama sets that we've touched on previously. That is so disappointing, and LEGO is just being lazy there, and I really, really do not like that. I'm going to leave all the fine little things for my review eventually of this thing, but it's a wonderful set. It's 3rd place. It's a spectacular little set. Coming in at number 2, this set is so close to being number 1. It's such a strong set. We have the 75336 Inquisitor Transport Scythe. 924 pieces. This set is near perfect, if not is perfect. It's an absolute steal for 90. This set is £90. That is such a steal if you can get this now. The only reason why I'm not going to get this is because I own other shuttles. I think they are cooler. I do not think this is as good as Krennic's shuttle, as good as Kylo's or the Lambda shuttle. I just don't really like the design within Star Wars universe, but the Lego model's really well replicated. Again, it doesn't matter about how it looks in the movies. This is a Lego model of what we see, and it is very, very accurate. The build is incredibly strong. It has a massive interior, really great interior. There is hardly any stickers on the set. I think the stickers that are included are pretty much all unnecessary. If you don't like applying stickers, it's absolutely fine. I'm breezing over this. I did touch upon this within my Christmas guide again, so yeah, no, I don't really need to go in depth here. The figures are awesome as well. The Grand Inquisitor's great, Reva, the Fifth Brother, all fantastic figures, and Obi-Wan again is exclusive to the set as well. All in all, a 10 out of 10 set. It's really, really good. And if you do want a large dark side Star Wars vehicle that isn't grey, this is definitely the set to buy. And if you haven't bought this for Christmas and you wanted it, I don't know what you've been doing, because 90 is such a steal. Stealing the #1 position, you should have been seeing this coming, because I mean, it's definitely the best of this year. It's the 75337 ATTE, 1082 pieces. This is the best set of the year. I'm going to breeze past this one as well, because again, I did touch upon this within my Christmas guide. It is the best, most accurate ATTE walker ever in LEGO Star Wars. It's very, very well replicated. The interior is stunning. It's a massive step up from the 2013 rendition. Such a better interior. They've updated a very few small things besides that though. It's a wonderful set. 120 is pretty damn good for this thing, considering 2022 money. Now the figures are really, really good as well. I think that the battle droids are all really unnecessary. I think they could have been changed with something else more exciting, or just left out of the set. I really don't think we need these battle droids in there. Same with the DSD-1. I think it either should have been a crab droid to be more accurate to Revenge of the Sith, or they should have got rid of it. It is an unnecessary side build with this. You're not paying for the dwarf spider droid. Also, there's a very interesting thing to point out about the figures that I think I missed out on. M&R Productions, I went back and watched his review of the ATTE, and he's absolutely right. It's not a big deal. I don't really care about it as much as he does, which is, you know, fine, each to their own. But the markings on the helmets of the two 12th Troopers are really inaccurate. And that's such a shame, because he reached out, M&R reached out to LEGO and he said, hey, is this intentional? And they said yes, and it's completely inaccurate. Now that I look, I missed this the first time. Yeah, that is a bit of a shame, considering that the 2014 rendition of this trooper was accurate in terms of the helmet, so that is a disappointment. All in all, this set is an absolute 10 out of 10, besides that small fault with the figures. Decent price, fantastic build, awesome display piece. It's prequel trilogy. We do not get enough prequel trilogy. I'm going to say this is one of the best Revenge of the Sith sets ever. Revenge of the Sith is very underrepresented with LEGO Star Wars. We do need more Revenge of the Sith sets. Very disappointing to see that we don't. But yeah, #1 set of the year. Absolutely awesome. With all of that said, this year has been slightly disappointing for LEGO Star Wars. I do have a lot of nostalgia for the old days, like 2015, 2016, but I just don't think LEGO can match that. I think they are slipping up and becoming lazy, particularly with their minifig department. They are making good changes, but they're just not implementing it fully and well. We are seeing less of a sort of an incline in terms of the actual revolutionary things that happen. I think that there should be more progress done, but I think the models that we have got are quite nice. There are lots of stinkers this year, but it's okay. It's definitely better than 2021 is all I can say. I will eventually do a ranking for that year, and 2021 was not the best. Everyone's got their own opinions, of course. Did you agree? Did you disagree with this ranking? Let me know down in the comments below. I know this video has been long. I'm going to be very, very brief. Stay tuned for Christmas Day. I am going to be doing a Christmas live stream. I'm going to be building Lego live. Stay tuned for that. And with that all said and done, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.